So help me God.
Kuto alama ala indema.
Mari masahina de alma yendema. Amen. Bismillah.
Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Isama Sedo.
Welcome to the TRRC.
Bismillah TRRC.
And thank you for agreeing to testify before this commission. Before you start to make your testimony, I would like to inform you that it's a criminal offense to lie under oath in this country.
Luati nyala mpuruka kuma soto balofo nyumba nkunka tumalame na ibe kalokoto ndani kabifa na mpuru ibe tiara sila lual fana nkoto nyumu luati nyala puruka kuma soto balofo.
Thank you for going in advance of me. Mr. Witness, today I would like to talk to you about the following topics.
Sedo bitilo mensio mendo mbelvla fanal menkachala nite mbelvla mina wolle fole.
Your background information.
Ba folo la melna wala muita fan kunnon kibaroti.
What you did in life before 1996.
Yemuna kela baluwo kono jannin sango mengi ka fa 1996 sango kono.
We would talk about very briefly your adventures in Liberia.
Mbe kachala kumala sutia kama fana ila dabulo la kula menkata Liberia bango kan.
Your involvement with Kuko Isamba Sanya.
Ila dabulo in Kuko Isamba Sanya na kuoro.
How you came to Gambia in 1996 to attack Farafenye.
Ina nora nyadi la Gambia bango kan jang kaboli na sojari kampo kan memus Farafenye, membe Farafenye.
And how you are subsequently caught.
And nyala bango inata ne mutano nyamen.
And brought to Gambia at the NIA.
Yenati Gambia bango kan jang yesambana NIA kordabat.
How you were treated at the NIA.
And unjeto NIA je woliye muta nyadi men nyadi de.
Not just yourself but also your colleagues.
Ana mankete fan kundi ngodrondi ini do kota indo nyo kota ngodu.
And how you were subsequently tried and convicted.
Nunko nyala bon nyumfo inata ne sambano kiti moto nyadi do foye kiti ndi anu inata ne soron.
And your release, final release. At the end of the day, the commissioners may give you the opportunity to make final remarks. Are you ready to testify, Al?
On
those topics?
Yes, I'm ready to give my testimony.
Good. Please do allow for a few seconds between the speech of the interpreter and your responses.
Mbeda ni la demanding isar kata ila diamol anin kanna sorla membe kanna soro ke kan dumala ila alla diamol kana sila nyokan ni nyini karo janni be jabiro kala is second dandandi janni be jabiro kala.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Good. If you don't understand the question, please ask me for clarifications and I will.
Ko ninga tranga nyini karo nyini karo nyini kala ni ma faham. Mbonda kalama isaje nganzamurunka nganyi nyini ka kotange.
Thank you.
Nimbara.
Mr. Witness, what are your full names?
Sedo itoni kontongo bedu.
Ito from Balo Kante. Do Balo Kante because Jamaya Lowell.
My name is Balo Kante because that's what many people know me by.
Do you have any other names?
Kola fo todo kotan soto leba.
Nga todo soto Abubakar Kante.
Yes, I have another name which is Abubakar Kante. That's what's written on my ID card, but a lot of people know me as Balo Kante.
Mr. Kante, is it Mbalo or is it Balo?
Mr. Kante, mbalo le mbang fo balo.
Alo fulo le ka fo mbalo, but amanke o balo Kante.
It is the fuller pronunciation who used to say Mbalo, but it is Balo.
Thank you very much. What's your date of birth and place of birth?
Ila ulu sang mulun jumalti anu ulu ta sate jumalto.
Be ulu ra Gambia la independent.
I was
1965.
I was born in the year of the independence.
Wala 1965 sangoni.
Bora Jara Pakalindi.
I'm from Jara Pakalinding.
Do you know the day and the month?
Ila ulu sangoni ngala lungo nyingana la sang ala karoni yalo ne bang.
Hani na rawala de.
No, I have forgotten about that.
Did you go to school?
Ida tuab karangola la bang.
Ani na man singolo karamong fa.
I've never stepped in a school.
What did you do in your adult, well, let me rephrase the question. What did you do as a profession?
Yamuna ke ka tombong ye baluo kono ka kela mechodi.
Dela baluo kono ninde manu mfama samba daralto.
When I was a child, my father took me to the Dara, the local madrasa.
Jara Kanuma.
At Jara Kanuma.
And then be karando nyokana ba kausunyol.
I went to the same Dara with people like Bakausu.
Bakausu Fofana.
Bakausu Fofana.
I hope you don't do the disappearing act.
Rinjikira nyina ko ba ifana buka yemande.
Well, people are not equal. God has endowed some people with something.
So after that Dara in Kanuma?
Biriyo Dara karonke Kanuma.
And Dara Karona Kanuma for 81.
I was at that Dara in Kanuma up to 1981. That's the time when I left that place.
So Rantara by Gambian in Senegal, Temangaranu, Tia Urol, so the Domani Sorensina Kanuma, what over Alangamur, Senegal.
Well, after that, after the Dara, I started going around between the Gambia and Senegal. What we usually do is when it's time to dig out groundnuts from the farm, I go and dig groundnuts for people and they pay me. If I have something, I come to Kanuma. After some time, I returned to Senegal. In those days, there were no digging machines.
And you did that for how long?
Iyo ke for wati jelu?
For around 86, 87.
I was doing that up to 86, maybe till 87.
When did you first come into contact, or when did you first get involved with Kuko Isamba Sanya?
Ila inin Kuko la nyo soto follow keta wadi jumalti.
That question is very good. I left this country in 1988.
December.
In December.
Libya.
I went on a travel and I went to Libya.
So Libya.
When I arrived in Libya,
so
I was there trying to find something.
So now in no?
In that time, during that finding something,
at
that time Libya was in a war with Chad.
So Gaddafi
the year that Gaddafi took over in a coup, and the month he did it,
September 4th,
was September 1st.
So
whenever that month comes back again, if you are in Libya in those days, whether you are in the capital or in a remote village,
so
they follow people.
Arrest by force.
And they arrest people by force. They take you to
military camp.
They take you to a military camp.
Rukal training force kono.
To train you there by force.
Alisamba kele dulari waro ni chati benyol.
And after the training, they'll take you to the war front because in those days they were fighting with Chad.
So for laftara for malafara ni bulo sitem.
Whether you like it or not, but if they catch you, they will take you.
Was this limited to foreigners or Libyans were also subjected to the same treatment?
For nyindum banku memang ke banku dingol dronde wol dronnam bang fo hani Libya dingol fanon da ba kono da ba.
Hani Libya dingol fanon da ba kono bara sembe ma kake foreigner solare.
Libyans were also involved, but the majority of the people who were treated like that were foreigners.
Proceed.
And then?
Yo, sa ni samba wo base onyinto.
If they take you to that base,
so ni arrest wonya ye samba base on so call training.
And when you reach the base, they will start training you.
What's the name of the base?
O base ni ngatodu.
The base fuller be do be je ka je Tajura ka do Wadu Arabia.
There are two bases. One is called Tajura and the other one is called Wadu Arabia.
So you can more somebody in base fuller.
These are the two bases where they take people for training.
So need to base all kono.
The moment you enter those bases, one of them
Aroni rebel wo kuobe Africa kono back.
In those days there were many rebel movements in Africa.
But Mr. Witness, are you aware that there was another base called the Maktaba?
Ko sedo fo nyim fanan kala mo base do be je ka me di Maktaba.
Mataba komisa officer komisa ni ko ja NIA.
Mataba is just like an office, like in the Gambia here if you say NIA.
NIA sa nyim besol bebe o Mataba la nyino koto.
And these military bases were all under the jurisdiction of Mataba.
So it will lemar president fanala kola fana.
And they were also responsible for the affairs of the president.
Are you aware that it was at the Maktaba that the senior African revolutionaries were trained?
Ako, fo nyin kala mutala ko, nyin Maktaba dingira nyin. Nyin African Liberation kelelal nyin ila nyaton kol nyin. Ye karandi wala to.
Yes, I know that very well.
So
I will clarify that point.
Proceed, please.
And then
so
that Mataba, so I said they were responsible for presidential affairs. Anything that is a military matter or intelligence, they are responsible for all.
So
those people were very powerful in the country. In Libya.
So
even during those training in those bases, still they are responsible for all of that training and the base itself.
Because we are on the training now,
because when we were undergoing the training at those camps,
the president would always hearing.
Some presidents are sitting today.
No training.
We did training with some of those people.
Can you give us examples?
Example like Idrissa Déby.
People like Idrissa Déby, who was in Chad.
Idriss Déby. Idriss
Déby.
So ani Mandela no model waro Mandela bulano.
Plus people who were Mandela's people, because in those days Mandela was not yet released.
There was Charles Taylor in Maktaba.
Charles Taylor abenu Maktaba leba.
Mina.
Yes, I'm coming.
Proceed.
Waro ni daro Mataba kono ika ni African leaders will mo Jamaica will letra Mataba dunia fanna be ni dunda je ka hadama de ngojibe le fonya ida.
In those days there are many African leaders who went through Mataba. And many people also from many parts of the world. If you go into Mataba, you see people until you become puzzled.
So
that's where you come to know that the world is very large. Because you find all kinds and types of people in there. Even in Asia, up to Kurdistan and many others, you find them there.
So Charles Taylor
and Charles Taylor was also there with his people.
So
they were all in that camp. Up to Kukwe Sambasanyang.
How about Sanko?
Sonko.
For the Sanko Fanambeje.
Yes, for the Sanko was also there.
Be training in your country.
We all did the training together there.
Akata Rwanda la President Mbeshiri.
Plus the present sitting president of Rwanda.
You mean Paul Kagame?
Paul Kagame.
Paul Kagame.
Yes, Paul Kagame.
But the former leader followed it.
But he was not their original leader.
The first leader in Father.
The first leader died.
So no one be training in your country.
We did training with all those people.
And the more jama
many people.
Buka longo dolbeje buka longo fongbo dunia fanama.
There are people whom you don't know. You don't even know where they came from.
But what was the purpose of all this?
Imbe dalilo muna makorodi. Atata nada muna.
Ni dalilo Jamal beje men yalan ko e malla fi komisa enila banko president wol membe sire wo time wol ni problème wol soto. So I left a border in Libya, left a Burkina, Oman Sakewul Bondi.
The main reason for that is many of the people who were at Mataba were there. They ran away from their countries because they were not in good terms with the sitting presidents in their own countries. So their intention is to come to Mataba, do their training. If they have support, they will go and overthrow the government that they left behind.
So ani Kenya bala banko membe yeva nol Hussein Farhadi.
And near Kenya there is a country and somebody called Hussein Farhadin was also with us there.
Somalia.
Somalia.
No for another from be training Kenya.
We did training there with him and his people.
Waro left no kola president membe I left all the Bondilano.
He said their sitting president at that time, that's the person they wanted to remove.
I go dictator Fulolamde.
He was a Fulaman and he was a dictator.
Siad dictator
Siad Barry, yes.
So he left all the Bondilano.
They wanted to topple him.
Do you have an idea? What was in this for Libya, for Gaddafi?
See, for a London sort of Nintolaba, Gaddafi, Nafale by in Kuro.
Gaddafi, Nafamen by Najero, at left them and press symbols of Africa Cono, a la symbols low Africa Cono, because what one into Babel Mambenda.
What I observed in those days was Gaddafi. What he wanted in Africa was that to become one of the most powerful leaders in Africa, because in those days he was not in good terms with the Europeans.
Okay, how did you find yourself in one of these camps, Tajura or Waju Arabia? How did you find yourself there?
Saying it not an infant Taradino in Kafulo, Tajura and Wajura, not an infant
Tajura and
Wad Arabia.
What Arabia, not an infant in Kafulo Donyadi.
I know you've told us that September 4th anniversary, they make a sweep and arrest people.
No, yeah, for September follow a campaign do within the Kamul Muta. So, Karandi Kitrindi.
What all enter arrest no?
It was during those days that I was arrested.
So yes, samba campaign do.
And I was taken to the camp.
Which one?
Yes, samba Wad Arabia.
I was taken to Wad Arabia.
So were you the only Gambian captured at this time?
Oh, what will I tell random Gambian thing or the member about what all?
And you I
was not alone. We were many there.
Give us names.
Told in the Banis.
Do to phone o man ko ka fa falwalo jeyte bato badule badu nyinata badu saro ba ke ba nyim banda waro fon ke barale.
There was one person called Falalo Jaite from Badibu. Falalo Jaite, who came from Badibu. In fact, I forgot which village in Badibu. And in those days, in fact, he was very old, and now he is passed away now.
And who else?
And in Juma?
And Kabiro Dembajano.
And people like Kabiro Dembajang.
Dembajalo.
Dembajang.
Kabiro Dembajang.
Kabiro Dembajang.
Jang.
Jang, yes.
Okay, and who else?
And in Juma?
Kara Bakai Drame.
Plus Bakai Drame.
You will be arrested for somebody in land.
Where those people were also arrested. These are the people I can remember for the time being because it was a long time.
Were you only 5?
No, we were more than that.
Atul Gambian ol fon kata ye bare albuka nyolom fang ba dol kata karadola dol karadola sometimes dol samba tajura dol be wadu arabia so ini men kata nyola bage ka wol dol lom fang domande.
We were many there because in fact in one camp you will find some Gambians on this side and some Gambians on the other side, and in fact some were also arrested and taken to the other camp, Wadu Arabia.
And for how long did you train in Libya?
Nin train ni bara nin karango ni ye ay wati jellelta e be train kan
bayre ngaje ko sai akundura mantaf.
After I realized that well there is no way to way,
I
cannot take myself out of that place. Because if I want to take myself out, today I would not have been here to talk to you people. Because in those days, these Arabs, as they call them in Mandinka Sula, to kill people, that is nothing to them.
So,
to safeguard my own life, I said, let me continue with this training.
So training karuoro.
Then we went on the training for 6 months. We were trained as a soldier for 6 months.
Intelligence officer
in those 6 months also, I was also trained as an intelligence officer.
So with the
help of Allah, I was able to gather some experience during the training.
Did you speak Arabic?
Well, a little bit.
In what language was the training carried out?
We do it with Arabic, in Arabic.
Okay, proceed please.
And then?
What did you do when you finished training?
Bring training borala.
After the training.
So what training you kono?
During the training.
So our Charles Taylor Liberia.
Charles Taylor was preparing to go to Liberia.
So Biratara.
When he left and went,
at
that time we were in the camp. But by then he had already left with his people.
So and
he had already gone with some Gambians.
Like who?
General Jackson.
People like General Jackson.
What's his Gambian name?
Gambian Todu.
Jerekoli.
Yes,
Mustafa Macaroni.
And Mustafa Macaroni.
Mustafa Macaroni, what's his Gambian name?
Gambian Todu.
Mustafa Atom Mustafa Mustafa for Mustafa for Mustafa Jibara.
Well, I cannot remember exactly his surname, but it might be Jiba.
Who else?
And in Juma?
Mustafa, did he also become a general?
For Mustafa Varanaraki General Otilaba.
Yes, later on.
So I name Mustafa Jallo.
And somebody also called Mustafa Jallo. But his real surname is not Jallo. His surname, real surname is Sanyang. He is from Ndemban.
So Domingo.
Somebody
Domingo
called
or Domingo?
Domingo.
But we to soronum very kuko kabijawara kurera la felde borre dara Guinea Bissau.
He got that name during the time when Kukoi wanted to coup the Jawara government. After its failure, they ran and went to Guinea-Bissau.
So
that's where he got that name. But
But
his real name is Mamadou Sise and he's from Nyomi.
All right. So Charles Taylor has gone to Liberia. That must have been in '89.
Charles Taylor
together with these
Liberia.
Gambians.
As a Keno 1989, and in Gambia Dumodol.
So the brother Liberia 89.
When he went to Liberia in 1989.
So 91.
In 91.
So Kukoi Narandol Sam Bonanja in Samba.
And that's the time when Kuke came back for us and took us along.
Why did you have to go with Kukoi?
Mane asabu ini Kukoi taranyola.
Well, what I at a Sembo sort of live and Dolman Council here because Sembo Baraba and Kadafi and Yolo, I Sembo on the War on Dolbe Campo and Fambon in work.
In those days, he was acquainted with Gaddafi and he was powerful. And in those days, we were poor and, well, we had no means. We were just in the camp like that.
Yeah. Would your understanding of the situation be that you guys were trained elements to be used in Gambia and Kukoi was your leader?
Ila fahamuro nyine dila ko atol yal tala yal karandi kake molti me alon ko be nafa lalla ya bondi Libya kal nati Gambia jang Kukoi taral ko makar ale purale na boy kangola jang Kukoi taral ko.
You've gone a bit further than I have suggested.
Okay.
They were trained elements to be used later in the Gambia under the leadership of Kukoi Samba.
Ko yal karandile o karandro nyin kola yenane binane munafan nalla buru Gambia kama.
So in 1991
sango
Kukoi came to Libya and decided to take you with him, right?
Natan Libya and
to remove you from there.
Anara na nyin kango soto kango ta ko pour kal bondi je al bondi Libya.
Naram bondi Libya.
Yes, he took us out of Libya.
Where did he take you?
Al samba min dole.
Go nga fon nakuma kongo no waro ni rebel wo ko be hewre Africa kono bake.
Just as I said before, in those days there were many rebel wars in Africa.
So ye contact also in Algeria.
They had contact with Algerians.
So waro ika contact also it will damal ka contact also bankol ka contact also damal tem.
You go into any country,
president member or time akakala mudale janarul bedun.
The sitting president in that country will be made aware of it before you enter that country.
Sa faru mina pile no fal mina dumal laba.
Whether you are coming by air or whether you are coming by land.
So albeduna banku kan.
Wherever you are supposed to go, any country that you are supposed to enter.
Atela londo vejele anime nyanda to receive la odulanyu almina daman.
The president will be aware and the person who is supposed to receive you people will also be alerted.
So yandol bulan de plane no la Libya ila airport of Amar.
So we were made to board a plane in Libya at their main airport.
Do Libya airport or nibe bola odulato pur ka finde wo time.
In those days, if you are supposed to board a plane and leave Libya,
and if
you are an ordinary civilian, leave that country was very, very tedious in those days.
Even foreign currency,
because in those days, they don't want anybody to go out with any foreign currency.
So, modulka foreign currency time.
Well, there were some people, they had means how to take out foreign currency in those days.
Yeah, for a money back.
If they tell you, it's sometimes very, very difficult. Something like your own money that you have sweated for, to take it out of that country in those days was not a joke.
So, but
when we were going out,
diplomatic
those looked like we were diplomats.
So a plane
was brought until to the point where we were supposed to board, and we were not even searched.
No, Algeria.
This is how we boarded the plane, and we were taken to Algeria.
Algeria,
in those days, the government which was in Algeria was aware of our coming to the country.
So janimbe jilaje.
Even before we disembarked from the plane, the person who was supposed to receive us at the airport,
so ngata wojita.
We found him there. He had already arrived. Now, who was there? Because the person who was at the airport at that time was not informed about us, because just about the intelligence matter that I said. Because some governments do not like their affairs to be known by certain people.
So
when we disembarked,
so we were taken into a hall,
so and made to spend the night there, but we didn't even have dinner. Many. I was there.
Kabiro
Dembajang.
Vlai
Sonko.
Suandi
Kamara.
Emo Jallo. Buba
Jallo.
Bamba Drame. But he can't find Wadrame.
But he's called Wadrame.
Mare.
These are the people I can remember.
Bakai Drame. And
we were some of the people at the airport that time.
Okay.
So when
we disembarked,
so
that morning, the person who was giving our information, when he came, when he saw us, he didn't talk to anybody. He knew that we were the people.
So
when he arrived and saw us, he said, come. He said that in Arabic, like Tala, come.
So
when we came, they took us to a hotel. They gave us breakfast. They gave us everything.
So
and then later on we were taken to a place inside the hotel there where we were supposed to stay before the arrival of another plane which was supposed to take us away from there.
So
we were there. We had lunch. We had dinner there. Immediately after dinner, another plane arrived. When it came, we boarded that plane again. So we were taken directly to Burkina Faso.
So
when we were arriving at Burkina, it was late at night. We disembarked at Burkina Faso at the airport. When we arrived there too, people, the road that people usually take and the road that we took, they were different. Well, what happens is, wherever we go, the normal route that normal passengers are taken by is always different from the route that they take us through.
You were given priority, correct?
Amunda altola ko ya
because dakoro be damalde ko menol damalde ngaji mbangol mengang dakoro be damalde mar.
Yes, things were made easy for us because these governments and these countries that we were supposed to go to, they were hearing from one another. They were in communication.
Bankol be menga tambani jele
all those countries that we went through, they all knew about Charles Taylor. Because before any country that he passes through, they were all supporting him. If they don't support him, we wouldn't have gone through their country. The reason for us to go through their country is they were supporting him. This is why we go through these countries without encountering any problem.
So when
we reached Burkina,
So many receive water fana.
The people who received us at Burkina,
Mambara famasa.
they didn't have any problems there.
So ngara motor belori and presidential motor belori.
And in fact, we met presidential vehicles standing and waiting for us.
So yambulani wala.
We boarded those vehicles.
So yedulani ninje.
They looked for a place for us.
Kabuje mafa moro naba.
They called the place Moro Naba.
So yensamba kordaroji.
They took us to a compound in that place.
So sign to lokondon siman dasam.
So our feeding, lunch, breakfast, and dinner.
So akabukuko ile bulatu along akasoro damendo.
Kukoi was responsible for it. He knew where he was getting it from.
But nakuwa mamansa kunda kumpade.
But the government was also aware of our being there.
Bari kananji beje soldier role ka soldier role kina ne men kananji beje
Because
purun kana any problems or.
Because time to time they send in soldiers who will come and check on us so that we will not have any problems.
And konoje.
We were there like that
For almost curriculum.
up to maybe 1 month.
So curriculum wana waro men.
By the end of that 1 month,
Aro charge telo nang Liberia.
by that time Charles Tero has come from Liberia.
Anara Burkina Faso.
He came to Burkina Faso.
So Birana raje.
When he came there,
So abeje.
he was there,
So inara fonyo purun naira nyola.
and then we were informed to accompany him.
Fonyo ko nyantan sambala.
They said yes, he should take us along.
So bari jani wo bekela no.
But before that,
So yambulani nun train la no waro jani mbira o plane ora no.
we were made to board a train before we boarded that plane,
Pour kara Ivory Coast.
so that we will go to Ivory Coast.
So barat nara mistake o dos rosiloga.
On the way, we had a mistake or a problem on the way.
Birum furara fo border ro.
When we reached the border,
Abo Burkina Faso kara Ivory Coast border.
from Burkina Faso to the border of Ivory Coast,
So comme ça inyanta kamudi la nyola nyame.
the way that they should have communicated to each other,
So communication o mamfuta no time.
there was a breakdown of communication at the time we arrived.
Dinara fo ntedu no la bat ngamurna.
They said we cannot go into Ivory Coast, and then we had to turn back.
Nara murondo na wala nyama.
This is how they brought us back again.
Murna na Burkina.
We went back to Burkina.
So amanna tambe tili dandandro.
Just a few days after that,
So charge telo na.
Charles Taylor came,
Ba Burkina la plane ora ka samba.
because he's always carried by a plane belonging to the Burkina government.
So bira.
When he was going,
So kuko kai ko na nyun samba.
Kukoi told him that take these people along.
At this stage, have you met Kukoi?
What for watola? For inin kuko enyo jele ba?
Waronde nga kuko jele.
Yes, because by that time I had already seen Kukoi.
Waronde ka nga kuko je kabir Libya fokana fo Burkina.
I saw Kukoi since in Libya all the way up to Burkina.
Is he known by any other name in his business out there?
Kuko, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Kuko fo ya lon to dola la ba ala du ko be kono ba.
Ha ka ba go Dr. Sambasanya.
Yes, he's also known as Dr. Sambasanya.
How about does he have another name apart from Dr. Sambasanya?
Ninga boda Dr. Sambasanya na photo do ko tembala la ba.
Fala kuko to nga wurona lo.
Just his Kukoi name, that's what I know.
Do you know a person called Dr. Mane?
Fo mo tolo na ba ka me Dr. Mane.
Ha nyina ra ha ka kumando ofana.
Yes, I forgot. He's also known as Dr. Mane.
Kumando ofana.
Yes, they call him by that name also.
Has he ever asked you whether has he ever asked for your consent to participate in this enterprise that you were about to embark upon?
Fo anana case in le banke nyininka fo ila dunyo be jele bang pour que dabula nyin ko to ba nyin do ko nyin to ba fa anana ke nyininka la ba fa ku de dunyo to ba
Nyen ko akata forcer ro ko wala.
Well, this thing was just like a force on us.
So because bere na training ke ay minute dindan araje ko bari akata forcer ro ko do bara na randa fa ma koy.
Yes, after our training, we were made to join them, just like in a force. But later on, it helped me.
Bara anaro londi fenam nan mamira na balwo ko ba ndan mamira ndala mol faul nan man siko ndebe sojar ya karana wala mbe intelligent karana ndala mol faul nan man si yow mere la balwo fon kono fon.
Because my people, they do not even imagine somebody like me will become a trained soldier up to the level of becoming an intelligence officer, My people never even thought about that. But after the training and I had the experience,
so kabiri sojaria karola kara intelligent na karola
from the level of a soldier up to the level of an intelligence officer. Yes, Allah helped me to have something in those areas.
So you ultimately you boarded that plane and went to Liberia.
Amunda ko nyi la bon alnar na bula kuluntila la altara Liberia bankoka.
Birimbula kulintila Burkina Faso.
Yes, when we boarded that plane in Burkina Faso,
Manta Liberia directly.
We didn't go to Liberia directly.
Jira Ivory Coast.
We landed at Ivory Coast.
Ma.
The place is called Ma.
Was at Ofe Buanya Vesiri.
Because it was their president was Hufwe Buanyi.
So at Ofana I
can say he was the right hand man of Charles Taylor.
So because the support
because the support we were receiving and anything that comes to us all comes through Ivory Coast.
So
when we landed there,
so in presidential vehicle Charles Taylor found a Ivory Coast la soldier role.
So Charles Taylor's own vehicles, presidential vehicles, and vehicles belonging to soldiers in Ivory Coast.
So
we boarded those vehicles.
So by the Charles Taylor escort, soldier role escort for Liberia.
Because when Charles Taylor goes there, he is always escorted by Ivory Coast soldiers up to the point of entering Liberia.
Because he can't to airport, but the airport remember.
But because they wait for him at the airport, but the airport at Ma
is
not an airport whereby all planes can land there.
So secret
it looks like a secret airport.
So they
don't like people to be aware of what's happening there. So planes land there mostly in secret.
So
that's how we went through and went into Liberia.
Where were you taken to first in Liberia?
Liberia.
When we entered Liberia, we went to Lukato. That's the first border.
So Yakuba Samate try.
We met Yankuba Samate there.
Yankuba
Samate by Kaba Yanks.
Yankuba Samate, but they called him as Yanks.
Yanks,
Proceed, please.
We met him there.
So another pick up all
he took us on board a pickup late in the evening.
I samba Banga.
He took us to Banga.
Charles Taylor City.
That's Charles Taylor's city.
So
Banga.
Banga.
Proceed, please.
And then, so Darraje.
We were there.
Birimbe was Bangaje.
When we were at Banga.
So comes Anina Domorola Carola.
When it is in terms of food,
I Liberia Banco Mobega Domor Sankilin Dronabe.
Because in Liberia they eat only once in a day.
Condom runner.
Only lunch.
That's how facility also.
Breakfast is not much known, but they have facilities. Because they are very well endowed. Whatever people need in other countries, they have a lot of it.
Let's cut this a little short. You are ultimately integrated into the NPFL.
NPFL. Yes.
And you fought in Liberia for Charles Taylor.
Yes.
And in 1996,
1996 sango kono.
You decided to leave Liberia, correct?
Ye nying kangota pour ka bo Liberia. Tonya?
Yes.
Why did you want to leave?
Mune asabo o miro na te kono ilafta ka boje.
Muna na miro na tan kono.
Reason for having that idea
was kuko ile mbondi nanje.
It was Kukoy who took us out from there.
So I samana Senegal.
He brought us to Senegal.
Because idea mbeja nara mo ko ya jame coup d'etat ki jang.
The reason for that, he later had that Yaya Jammeh has toppled the then government in the country.
So another bondi nang Liberia.
And he took us out of Liberia
I samana Senegal.
and brought us into Senegal.
So the mission of Purukana Senegal.
Our mission for coming to Senegal was to come and topple Yaya Jammeh's government.
But Janimina Senegal, Janimina point to.
But before reaching that point, because when we were in Liberia,
1994.
We heard that there was a coup in 1994.
So that I decided
Then we decided that we don't like the idea of a coup.
So
when we were there, we were taken to a place called Kari.
After another samba lado beje aflanyina campo tole another samba.
We are talking to another camp, which the camp's name I cannot remember. Because when we were in Liberia,
so we
were divided. Because it was a big it's a big country. Some were taken to this other side, so others were taken to other sides. I ended up at Lukato. Myself and Farmer Akoli. And Baba Job's younger brother called Sirif Bajob.
Then we
were the people who lasted at Lukato. But when we were fighting for Charles Taylor, because me alone, the amount of people I lead were up to 1,500 people.
What was your rank?
Rank of captain.
I was a captain by then.
Proceed, please.
10.
So
I used to be with them in the bush. Up to 3 months. But around that time, among those 1,500 people,
so I
can say in that group I was the only Gambian there.
So
because in those days I was the only person also who can lead that group.
Special forces.
Because we were special forces.
In which language were you speaking with them?
So Manda school or
I didn't go to formal school, but when I went there,
so I'm broken English.
They are broken English.
So I
tried and delved into that until I was able to say something.
So
that helped me. Like English, the English language. It went up to a time, up to a level whereby I listen to the BBC and I understand their news. And I've never been to school.
So
really, that was a big help for me.
So
that's the language I use with them.
But they
have their own indigenous languages.
So
within those people, I chose some bodyguards.
So but
my bodyguards there were all female. Because the males, I don't trust them.
So say
there were 18 women.
So
they were my bodyguards.
Liberia was nice, wasn't it?
Yes. Liberia,
Liberia was a nice place.
Because je domoro karo comme ça im dama fe domoro karo subol tem fam ko ton bananol ananasol fam be ala ne mare mala je canal dron itol buka sama soro waro men na man si adal.
Because in those days in Liberia,
because han sign thing ni be December sama ikasoro domande.
Allah has really helped them. You have a lot of food, bananas, especially fruits, bananas, ananas and other things. They were plentiful in Liberia in those days, meat and everything. You can eat anything that you want.
You were a chief in your own fiefdom.
Yes, because comme ça mbesirin te nyamen mbesirin wo nyama na bori karo garra loren dandangole ni kido.
Yes, because just as I am sitting here, my bodyguards will be standing around me with arms and they used to guard me like that.
So
but that's how I was living there. But I had a wife there. She's always at home, but she's also a civilian. I was there with her.
So
whenever I come from the bush,
so
I leave my soldiers there. I come with my bodyguards to the home. I'll spend some days at home and then later go back into the bush.
What was your Liberian name?
Your Liberian told you.
Nelson Ghana, but Nelson Mandela.
Some of them call me Nelson Ghana, but many of them also call me Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
Because Nelson Mandela.
The reason why I acquired that name, Nelson Mandela, because of the difficulties I encountered during the training and in the bush. This is why they gave me that name.
Okay, so now let's move on to the period you now had to leave Liberia for the first time.
Liberia follow.
Okay,
when we were at Lukato,
so
we were fighting.
So at for starting how the time go Ecomo Kelobulo will end in Charles Taylor.
Up to the time when Ecomog decided to attack Charles Taylor's forces.
So Waron de Lugaro, Bawaro, Nimen Lugaro, Sirvajo, and Farmer Coli.
At that time I was at Lukato with Sirif Bajob and Farmer Coli.
So Waro, Wolem border, men border, and Kadamando use Nakidolu, Kesolu, Domoro, everything big at Tambanije.
Because that was the main border where our arms, ammunition, food, it all passes through that border. When things come into Ivory Coast, they pass through, all of those things pass through that border. So this is why if you ask Hufet Buanyi,
where would we ask him? Proceed, please.
If you ask him when Charles Taylor was going in, where did he pass through? He will say that I haven't seen him today, I haven't seen him tomorrow. Because if the drummer steps on top of the drumming stick, nobody will beat that drum. Because he was aware of everything, because at that time he had a problem with Samuel Doe. Because Samuel Doe promised to topple him. Samuel Doe used to tell Fufe Buanyi that I will topple your government. And Fufe Buanyi told him that you are a small boy, it's just now that you sat on this chair. And Samuel Doe said, the day that I'm going to topple you.
Buanyi told Doe.
It will soon be time for me to topple you. I'll come and drink water in your palace.
So wala na biri Charles Taylor findira no.
So this is why when Charles Taylor came out,
kabri rolling sila support wo
from Rawlings' support,
para Thomas Sankara.
Thomas Sankara,
Janni be Thomas Sankara kudera la Blaise Thomas kudera la waro man.
up to before Blaise toppled Sankara.
Thomas fananara Blaise fananara continue.
And after Sankara, when Blaise took over, he also continued
ka support
to support Charles Taylor.
na ove buanye
And plus Houphouët-Boigny
para fo Algeria la president.
and the Algerian president.
Para fo Europe fan I support sort of bangu jamala fan ka
And
Europe.
even in Europe, he had support from many countries,
Like Italy,
like Italy.
businessman all member.
Yes, it is quite interesting and very fascinating, but we have to move forward. So tell us why you had to leave Liberia for the first time. I know, Mr. Chair, this is quite interesting, history and West African politics, but we have to move on to the issue.
Comme wala nyindi ko ebe mem fanna men sata kantenga fanna me alan ko nyabo warta bakel anno akumaya bada bur moyela moyala kadum tariku anim politiko la karola bere ata je bak but hanin kabi sila ngata wato men bora Liberia.
And Mr. Chair, I also want to avoid too much this particular topic because of my present situation in the other hat that I wear. So I do not want any issue of conflict to come in. It is unlikely, but I just have to stay away from this topic. Proceed, please, and tell us how the decision was made for you to come to Gambia and what was your purpose for coming.
Yo silang afonya bang kangol inara na kauta nyadi le puru ina Gambia andung kangol tano ta nyadi le puru ebo Liberia kana Gambia.
This question is very good.
So decision
The decision was made by Kukoy Sambasanya. He's the person who came and told us that. He said, I want to go to Gambia because the coup that took place there.
So
he also wants to remove that government.
So did he say why?
Fire for the mundali le sa munana ho.
So dalilo mbejate dalilo memfo.
Reason that he stated was
the dalilo me using tolkan no time about to fall about 4 malo.
Reason he gave us in those days, I don't know whether that was his real motive or not.
So I didn't know komsa any kudeta call komsa Africa call the rebel call sign thing.
Because he told us that in Africa nowadays rebellions and things like coup d'etats, it is now coming to a time when those things will not be accepted anymore in Africa.
So
this is what he told us, but I don't know whether that was his intention or not.
Was he really genuine in view of the fact that he's used you in Liberia from 1991 to 1996 for the same purpose?
Pete amera fo alo kuma ko nyinga so beata wala bankatung ay muna fangal la Liberia ka 1996 kata fo 1991 kata fo 1996.
Okuma ko onye atia for the bar komsa nibe bulo hono.
We stated that just like that. But if you are somebody who is being manipulated by somebody else,
so it buga fenke no that.
You cannot do anything by yourself. Especially if you are not educated. Sorry to say this, but those who attended formal schooling, sometimes they are cunning.
So Purkan told Sifal Takulo Nyama can Samba Onyama Isila Londo use no lay Kumal Fonya Barin Dormanda Karamuto. So it's in Sambano and Isla Janet del Bakalamura, a mistake also.
To people like me who has not done any formal schooling, so those with school education can be able to tackle us and take us along into certain things.
So where did he take you?
So Brian
before we left there.
So Sirif Bajo,
Sirif Bajo,
Baba Job's brother. Because ngafo na barmanyolam.
They are my uncles.
Ani baba be barmanyola.
Himself and Baba, they are my uncles.
Na sare ul manja mama muso wora yela.
Our villages are very close to water. In fact, my grandmother came from their village.
Because baba farmer.
Because Baba's father,
And the mama chewo.
plus my grandfather,
So wole kambane yake nyola.
they were age mates
So for mama chewo nara muso nyini.
up to the point that my grandfather decided to marry somebody from their village.
Wole nara ke sa ngafo ongu.
This is why I call them uncle.
So sirubana rafo nyako nyimba kuko bal kata kampur kal sambare.
Then Sirif Ba told me that Kukoi is planning to take you people away.
Aduna al samba.
And if he takes you away,
Balutula jele
he will leave you there
adu altu na murno la nanya.
and you cannot come back here.
Ba komu sa ntol o time o mala kuma o time o sanji worola.
Because we didn't heed his words, because for the last 7 years,
Ila mul malo ibe damento.
your people don't know where you are.
So ibe batarinje.
And you were suffering there.
Nada jago niwo kai purkata na banko kanda kera nyawo nyanya mga se na banko.
Were you really suffering there? You are a king in some part of the jungle.
Fo tonya nya be badarin jele no kadu ite kita molde me alonko ite mu nyaton kolti ila ma moldol molda
Ite mu mansale tulum.
Amunta e mansa ke male be wulo kono je.
Masala munde ba buru yalo iko maningol ko iro mera ba kono nya ba bambaya.
Well, I was like a king there, but as the Mandinka proverb goes,
Let me ask you, Mr. Kante. Did you listen to the testimony of Mr. Jadam? Damfa?
ko fo ila mo Mr. Damfala se daniro la jamba
Go amantraja.
no, I was
Did
not.
you listen to it on the radio?
ila mo la radio to la bawaran don telel
Do aindra silo ko wa don tolbe kullirula.
No, we attended a naming ceremony.
Have you guys discussed this issue before?
o alkalin ku kacala ban janning albinaba
Ani kanyu moyle ten bar nana man kacha komsa kola ten kanyu moyle purkana temba purka discourse ten komsa o sifa la ten banna kol mulunda bari fatata.
Well, our things were, our affairs were similar, but different. We communicate with each other, but we never discussed anything like this.
Okay. You've said two things that are almost identical with what he said.
kuma fula fo jamme alonko anala kumodul mulunda kuma fula
The first is the Tantankoso.
folo wolam tantan kosoti
That proverb you remember.
masalo nyi misalo
If
nyi
you step,
ni
if
esingo
you step on the stick,
jalo singo belorin tantan kan faabe kosinola
you said that one.
yo fole
And then a stick in the sea
iro be membe ba kono
or wood in the sea can never change into crocodile.
wala iro simme jokono nyaaw nyaata keno la bamboti
And you said it in almost exactly the same context.
andu ya fo nyaal me alonko
Atafana ya fo nyakilimu nyalema.
And for the same questions.
Andu atawo nyininkar kilimu le bako.
That is a strange coincidence.
Yalo dolbe mandika dingole.
We are all Mandinka indigenes.
Adunda ni damfa be wora jara.
And myself and Damfa, we are all from Jara.
Aduna sare ul fana manjam fana.
And our villages are close to one another.
And you were both rebels in Liberia.
And Albem rebel
And you both attacked Gambia.
And Albena taboy Gambia kam.
You were both caught.
Yalbe muta.
Yes.
You were both tried and sentenced.
Yali kitin de yali sorong.
Yes.
You both spent time together at the prisons.
albeta ta nyokan kasoro
You still communicate together.
anno alkadiya mu nyoka
Still communicate with each other.
alkadiya mu nyoye
Yes.
And you have discussed this issue.
alnungi alenyum ko kacale
Pro wala munde.
What is that?
The issue. Did you come together to the TRRC?
fo ina na nyola TRRC laba
Anna follow raja bigo yang kumandi follow ko nunjanne.
Yes, we once came here before because we were called before.
Mandra fenke kile mandra office kilinda.
No, but we were in different
But
offices.
all we want to establish is
lafta kamen
that
sabati
you have discussed your situation, your case, and what you're going to talk about to the TRRC. Did you?
yela kuol be sata le men kuol men late le kan ya be sata TRRC le men ketela men late ya be
ako itening damfa fali dam manglu nene sitale pour nal nata TRRC jang albe mem fola ali yakko kacale ali dam manglu tema bang
pour kasi ka kacanda mal tema re hani ma sitem pour ka discourse tem pour ka kacanda mon ka nyomoy le bari ini mosi kaca nyawnya bari na kol mulundale bari fatadale.
Well, our affairs
ita kaca bi ko ngai kuma ko men foten ko sa jalo simo be lorum foron ka ni kuma ko o man ka dingo bela porana so sagat man dol men bota jara.
Yes. Well, we've
o mu kuma kan do bela ko jara dingo fe me da ko man ka ko mo eten dron.
We would proceed, and Mr. Chair, if you want to intervene on it.
No, just on a third point that you had raised, there was some similarity on that one. That was the point where said, you follow Kukoi, he would leave you behind.
Yes, and that is a third
Damfa
one.
said exactly
the same.
The same words here and there.
Yes.
So it's good that you raised the coincidence.
Yes, that's right. But proceed, please.
Sorry,
after Sirif Bajub told you that Kukoi, if he takes you, he would leave you behind. And
before we came, I was staying with Sirif Ba, and we were responsible for the border with Mfamarakoli.
But border nyundoji.
But at the border there, Mfamarakoli was our leader. All of
what
us
was
there.
his rank?
Famarakoli la atela makamu muneti.
At the time was a colonel.
At that time, he was a colonel.
Sirif Ba Batenoma.
Followed by Sirif Ba.
So they go no.
Sirif Ba, what was his rank?
Sirif Ba lo makamu muneti.
Sirif Ba fana be colonel ngamra Famara be lieutenant colonel in full colonel Sirif Ba be lieutenant colonel.
When Famara was colonel, Sirif Ba was lieutenant colonel.
Okay. Proceed.
And so after Obranian Kumofani,
when he told me this,
so
but despite all that,
we
are staying together, we sit down together, we chat together. But if you look at it naturally, people who have been staying together and from the same place to come, there's certain things happen which you know, all of you come to know about it.
So
that's why Kukoi, when he was taking us out from there, to bring us to Senegal, he made some papers. But that paper, it was an ECOWAS document. But if you look at it properly, it is, if you look at it, you will think that it is a Senegalese document, but it is an ECOWAS document. If you use it...
Mr. Witness, do you realize that ECOWAS does not issue documents by itself? It issues documents through states. So it could have been an ECOWAS document issued by Senegal.
Ako fay ñing kala mudala ko ECOWAS bo kayto di ECOWAS ka kayto di mansal mankolla bare bukadi mo kunkilina teng.
That is not the interpretation. Even our ID cards today are ECOWAS ID cards, but issued by Gambia. Senegal has exactly the same thing, but issued by Senegal.
ID card masala kadi bari amang ke ECOWAS le kadi bari hani Senegal fana be wala nyama. Senegal ID card fana be wala nyama.
I think this point is still missed.
Hani akamem fosa ingolem ECOWAS itelela kobe suffering kaito bala na ID card ni ajube ECOWAS kaito le mbari na mansa kundale kadi ko bitun ya dada ko Gambia talom bari wobe ECOWAS la kangole ba koma Senegal fanan ta dada ta wole nyama ko ika ID card di nyamin.
So malon kaito nya asoro nyame.
I don't know how he was able to lay hands
Whose
on this
picture was on the document?
Mala na talo be kaito bala.
Yeah?
Jumala na talo be kaito bala.
Natal tabar.
There was no picture on it.
Natal tabar kaito jire no bara kaito ni wartal domande.
Well, there were papers, but a little bit big. But if you use it in African countries, they don't trouble you anywhere. I don't know how he was able to lay hands on those documents, because he's somebody who is intelligent. Because there were many things that he brings to us. Some are there that you will be aware of. But some the things that also happen you will not be aware of. But just like a government to pass information to each other. So and we used to inform each other whenever something comes up. Like in a government, something happens, well, you tell your colleague, well, I don't know whether you are aware of it, something, this and this and this has come up. So this is how we share information amongst ourselves.
But in the end, you were able to travel.
When we were issued those documents, we traveled from the place called Danani. It's at the Ivory Coast border. We traveled and came into Mali. We left Ivory Coast. We entered Mali. We left Mali. We came into Senegal.
How many of you?
If I can remember, we were 18.
Do you know everybody?
I can call their names if I haven't forgotten, if I can remember.
Tell us.
Myself, Balo Kante. Omar Damfa. Suleiman Sar. Keba Sano. Karamojiba. Kabiro Dembajang. Ablai Sonko. Suandi Kamara. Ngansuwali. Bambadrame. Kafai Wadrame. Some call him Wadrame. Laojaju. Kemo Jallo. Abdurrahman Balde. Esa Balde. Well, these are some of the names I can remember. Yes, for the time being, I can remember this.
14, huh? Okay, proceed, please. How about Drame? Yaya Drame?
Yes. Yaya Drame was part of us.
Okay, proceed, please.
And Jibril Jallo.
Proceed. Where did you go? Senegal.
Senegal. When we came to Senegal, we went to Tambakunda. But when we disembarked at Tambakunda, by that time, Swandi and Karamojiba were ahead of us, so we found them at Tambakunda. We found them there. But when we met them there, so he talked to Kukoi. So then they told us that Ablai Sonko was at Sokon. So when Keba Sano, and he was with Keba Sano. Myself, Kebasano, and Kabiro Demba. We went together to Sokon. By that time, Karamojiba and Ablai Sonko
wol fana be Sokone.
They were already at Sokone.
So Swandi ni modol be Tambakunda.
Swandi and the others were at Tambakunda.
So ndol tara Sokone.
Then we went to Sokone.
So ndol mose be jam Tambakunda.
8 people were at Tambakunda. I think 8 of us also were at Sokone, if I can remember properly.
Did Kukoi give you any money?
Kukoi kodo di allalba.
Very minaba.
When we were coming,
I at le paso di.
Yes, he gave us the fare.
Le paso di na fare everything at la be di nyanda mendo mula silo gat la.
Even our food. On the way, he gave us everything.
Did he give you weapons?
Kidol di allal.
Very mina.
When we were coming.
Hani.
No. We didn't come with
money kidi the taman or skin or by pro silo ni kidi the taman.
Well, one can do it, but the way we came, nobody can travel with a weapon at that time.
Not even pistols?
Hani kidi no found pistol.
Do waro janim be futala.
Before we arrived. No.
Did he give you money to buy such weapons?
Fo ay kodo di allal bam pour ka kidi sifa kidol samba.
Ra kodo de pour ka kidol sa.
Kidol sa
Ani. No. Madina silo kan pour ka kidol sa ba narun ko la Senegal.
He didn't give us the money on the way to buy guns, but when we came up to Senegal,
so birimbe Senegal,
when we were at Senegal,
so time wala adara kido doling.
That was the time when he went to acquire some weapons.
But
it was this type of guns which were not effective, just the guns they used to hunt birds with.
So
these were the type of guns he was able to acquire.
So, but what I may use in Tolkien time.
But the strategy he used on us at that time. He said to us he has already discussed with the Senegalese government, so which was led by Abdou Diouf at the time.
So if support
they will give us all support.
And
they will negotiate also how to come into the Gambia. The first negotiation, how it should have taken place, was to negotiate between us and Yaya Jammeh, so that we can come home.
But the
real plan behind was that when we came and reached the shores,
so
he will believe you.
So
and in his belief or in his trust,
so
remove him will be very quick,
because we
had the experience,
capabilities,
and we were capable of doing it.
So
in any way.
Mr. Chair, perhaps we should leave it at that for the first break.
Yeah, thank you, Council. Sign panel sit up Rade Mola. Where we take a 30-minute break and come back at 12 noon. Meeting is adjourned.